Welcome back, everybody, to another fun gear review. Today we're taking a look at the Winnerwell Pipe Oven 2.5 inch for the medium-sized tent stoves. This will work with the Woodlander or the Nomad. I happen to own the Nomad, that's why I bought it. Now, current price on Amazon before I get into anything else, because this is a bit of a sticker shock for this guy. $179.99. It is not cheap at all. Link in the description if you're really interested. I'll say I had to seriously think about this and I just decided to go for it. So here's the box. Some interesting info here on the side of the box. UPC, dimensions. Okay, here's the instructions for the pipe oven. Not a whole lot of instructions, is there? See, it is packed with a decent amount of foam. Foam here in the front that covers the main glass. It arrived completely undamaged, which I'm very happy for. Because if this was damaged in any way, even something small, it would have went right back. Alright. Look at that. Look at that. So you got pipe going in, pipe going out, and this interior is completely sealed. ANSI 304 grade stainless steel. Okay, let's take a look inside here. They got this piece of foam here to keep these grates from rattling. So we're just gonna remove that, put these grates back in. So you have these two removable grates. Got a decent amount of room in there. That's pretty. I can put my hand in there beyond the wrist, no problem. Alright, decent little window, and there is a screw right here. And it's just like the stove. If you take that screw out, there is a spring-type piece of steel in here, and you can remove the glass. So should you break the glass, it is replaceable. Now, oven thermometer. This is one thing I kind of don't like. It's welded in. So if this thermometer goes bad, you're going to have to cut these welds with like a Dremel and pop that guy out and put a new one in. And it's been my experience over the years with different camping accessories and stuff, these can go bad or they can get damaged. So kind of a negative there. Dimensions. This is 242 millimeters long by 220 millimeters wide by 220 millimeters high. That calculates into 9.5 inches long by 8.7 inches wide by 8.7 inches high. Okay, once again, pipe diameter is the 2.5 inch. That's the 63 millimeter pipe. Weight 3.9 kilograms or 8.6 pounds. It is a little heavy. Interior dimensions. Okay, so you have these grates that go in here. If you measure these grates, you get an idea of the internal dimensions, at least part of it. So you're looking at just under by a 1/16 of an inch, 9 inches. So that's 8 and what, 15/16 by 6 inches exactly. Or in metric, you're looking at 22.6 centimeters by a meowing cat by 15.3 centimeters. And then the height of this opening, we'll get a good measurement here. Let me set it on its side. Don't worry, James, it's not going to get you. You're looking at 6 1/8 of an inch or 15.7 centimeters going this way. All right, so it's not huge, but it's not big either. It's somewhere kind of falls in the middle, I think. Now, if you leave this bottom grate in, the biggest pan I could find, like let's say you wanted to make bread, was this stainless steel pan. And it just barely, I mean, look at that. You got a little bit of space here so you can keep it from touching the sidewalls, but you'd have to keep that perfectly centered when your bread rises, otherwise it's going to hit these sides. That's the biggest pan I could find to fit in here. But you don't have to do just bread. This opens up the possibility of other things. Meatloaf, lasagna, casseroles. I mean, you can really let your inner chef out with an oven like this, okay? Now, a decent sized small pan I found was these Fat Daddy-O's. They're aluminum, that's the only downside. And they fit in here very nicely. They even fit sideways a little bit, long as you don't have your bread rising and hitting these sides too much. Alright? But you could fit one in here, no problem. Alright? I'm going to put links for both these pans in the description. The downside about this stainless steel pan, the ones I found, you had to buy a package of 8 of them. Not a big deal. I do cook a lot, so I said, you know what? The rest of those can go in my pantry, and I can use them for cooking. But the average person might not want to buy 8, so maybe you will have better luck looking online, finding a smaller quantity for yourself. Little oven hooked up here to our Winnerwell stove. Everything's ready to go. And I just thought I'd give you a look at it. Now, according to the manual, you can set this up in the first stovepipe section. That's got the flue in it, which is, if you look carefully, you see the handle for the flue right here? So, you can set it up in this first stovepipe section, or off of this second one up here, which would place this stove, if you put it here, it'd place that stove right at eye height of an average adult, which is pretty cool. But I think this first section is going to be just fine. I'm standing here, it's right about at waist level, you know, with the fast fold fire table thingamajiggy and everything. It puts it right at waist height. In fact, let me measure that for you. So the bottom of the oven right at about 34.5 inches. I'll put the metric equivalent at the bottom of the screen. Pretty close to 8 minutes, and we're over 400 degrees on the oven. Now, one thing I did notice with this oven on here and my stovepipe, it is a little windy out. I don't know if you can see that little bit of wobble right now. If you're going to be using this accessory here, I'll pan up and you can see the top of the stovepipe. See it go back and forth? That's just from the wind. If you're going to be using this accessory, you really got to put some guy lines on up there near the spark arrestor and make sure that this is solid. Okay, I'm going to continue with this because I kind of have no choice at this point. Everything's good and hot, but learning right there. Now let me show you the gauge. As you can see, we're above 400 degrees Fahrenheit, over 200 degrees Celsius. Pretty cool. I have the flue wide open on my Nomad stove, and I just fed some large logs into it, and the temperature dropped down from 400 to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you're baking something in there and you're feeding this stove, it's going to knock the temperature down a good 50 degrees. See that? Went from 400 down to 350. I'm sure once that gets burning real good, it'll get back up, but it's definitely something to consider if you're using this stove. This oven is pretty close to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. That's just a little bit over 200 degrees Celsius. I thought I'd take some temperature readings on the outside. So the front of it, the metal parts are coming in about 170 degrees Fahrenheit or 76 degrees Celsius. You hit the glass and it's looking like 205 degrees Celsius, which is the interior temperature, or 401 degrees Fahrenheit. The top surface here looks about 235 degrees Fahrenheit, 113 degrees Celsius. The sides, sides only coming in at 96 degrees Celsius or 205 degrees Fahrenheit. Let me get the back of it just for giggles. 159 degrees Fahrenheit or 71 degrees Celsius. So it looks like the majority of the heat is on the sides and the top. There's a little bit of heat coming off the back. I've been running the stove for about an hour and a half. As you can see, I got the door cracked open. I don't have it latched. And I got the flue wide open. And we're at 500 degrees Fahrenheit. That's over 250 degrees Celsius. Let me zoom in on that. Look at that. Can't believe I got it that hot. Holy smokes. I mean, you can see that door ain't latched. It is cracked. So, wow. If you had this set up inside of a tent or whatever, man, or even open the door completely, that's going to add a lot more heat if you need it. In fact, it'd probably make the tent too hot. I just thought I'd share that. I didn't think I was going to get it up to 500 degrees, but I'm getting a little too close to 550, 600, or 300. What was that? Yeah, 300 degrees Celsius. That's kind of the danger zone. I don't want to get it that hot. I mixed up some corn muffin mix in this little aluminum Big Daddy-O's pan. And we're going to throw it in there. It's right at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. For 15 to 20 minutes. I'm going to take that grate out and put it here in the bottom. Alright. We're going to see what happens. Wish me luck. Over the 15-minute mark, as you can see, the corn muffin mix has started to brown a little bit, so I'm going to give it the toothpick check. Still a little wet. It's got to go a little bit longer. So we'll give that another few minutes. Been 20 minutes and she's starting to look a little brown in there, so I'm hoping it's done. I see a lot of steam escaping around the glass and around the door here, so I'm hoping it's ready. So we're going to do the toothpick test again. Oh, look at all that steam that came out of there. Yeah, it's looking... Yeah, that's about as done as it's going to get. So I'm going to take that out of here. Oh, yeah. Whew. We're going to close that. Actually, I'm going to let that air out. Alright. Tried to take a piece of my corn muffin out of here, and it is sticking. It did stick to the sides, even though I greased the pan. So probably the best way to do this would be to line this with parchment paper, and then you could pull it right out. In fact, that's the way I'm going to probably do it from now on. But I'm probably, once I get all this out of here, I'm going to have a mess to clean up. But hey, the oven works. You got to see the Winnerwell medium pipe oven in action. I actually baked some corn muffin mix in it, which turned out okay. I wish I wouldn't have stuck to the pan as much as it did. Overall, pretty happy with this. Now, I ran it for a good 3.5, almost 3 3/4 hours, and you'll see the interior here has got a nice bronzed, you know, that bronze color that stainless steel gets after it heats up. Even the grates here did, and that grate is a little warped, but there we go. But it kind of goes right back into shape. You know, overall, it's all right. Now, did I have any problems with this? No, not really. It's a bit of a learning curve because you're playing with keeping this door cracked a little bit like that, or adjusting the flue on the wood stove, and then every time you feed the wood stove, there is a brief period of time where you lose like 50 degrees worth of temperature for a bit, but then it comes right back up. So it's a bit of a dance. It's a bit of an art cooking with something like this. Now, would I buy it again, knowing everything I know now? That's a tough one. That's a real tough one. Because this dang thing is expensive. You know, if it wasn't so expensive, yes, but not a hard yes. So I'm somewhere below the middle ground. I'm not saying no, but I'm not saying yes either, you know. It's a bit of money. You know, you'd have to decide for yourself if you want to spend that kind of money. If you're going to be doing a lot of winter camping with, you know, many people in a big tent, you know, this isn't a bad thing to have. And you're not just baking in it. Like I said, casseroles, lasagna, there's a lot of things you can do with this. So it opens up more doors. Just getting ready to put this away when I realized there was one other thing I didn't talk about where this stove is concerned. And that is Creosote. Okay, so this is a box with another box built around it, and it allows hot air to go through the pipes and around it. That's how it works, right? So I have one concern. Over time, now we're talking a lot of use. You can see how black that is in there. How do you get the creosote out? How do you clean it? Let me turn my light up all the way. You see how black that is in there? And that's just from 3 hours of use. So what happens after years of using this and you get a heavy creosote buildup inside here? How do you clean it out? I don't know. Off the top of my head, I don't know. So I'm asking experienced wood stove users out there, how would you clean this? Please hit me up in the comments. And that is something to consider where this stove is concerned. That is a big deal, because nobody wants that kind of pipe fire inside of a tent. That could be pretty lethal. But you're talking years of accumulation. It's not something that would happen right away. So that is one thing to consider. And that kind of makes me lean toward a folding oven like one of the old Coleman ones. I actually have 2 of them. And where I would set like on the stovetop itself. So I am going to use this. How much I use it, who knows? Who really knows? But that's all I got to say about this Winnerwell stovepipe oven for the medium stoves. Buy it, don't buy it, that's up to you. But I'll see y'all later on, out in the woods over there. Maybe getting ready for some winter camping. Thank you for watching.